What's good? How was y'all doing today? With me reacting to what if Itachi was at the Five Kage Summit. As of right now, I don't even got no thoughts to be speaking on. You know what I'm saying? How I think everything go down and shit. But we finna opposite the video though and see. But appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure y'all leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's hop right to the bit.
Hello everyone, it's your host, Seth the Programmer. With me today, I have Overweight Man. We're gonna be talking about Itachi at the 5 Kage Summit.
I hate your intro. Oh my
'Cause-
god.
Now, before we get into the video, I'd like to proudly announce that this video has been sponsored by Bloodline, Heroes
Boy,
of...
hell no. All these fucking see my bro. All these fucking games with these fucking trash ass nigga, bro. Hell no. You can find games that's 10 million more times funner than these games that be advertising, bro. And I respect it. You feel me? Get your bag, but that shit
I don't
ass.
know, it sounded cool, you know? You see Sasuke at the Kage Summit, and you're like, cool. Video possible. Because, I don't know, it sounded cool, you know? You see Sasuke at the Kage Summit, and you're like, low-key hearing him get compared to Itachi the entire time. Whether it be his Genjutsu, his control of Amaterasu, or whatever it is, he gets compared to Itachi. And I think even in the data books, they actually compare Itachi to Sasuke at this point pretty directly. And I also wanted to go over what it would be like for Kisame to also roll up in there, because, you know, Sasuke had all his boys with him, so we thought, you know, let's throw Kisame in there. So it'd basically be, what if Itachi and Kisame went to the Kage Summit, and we can just say hypothetically maybe Obito just threw them in there to harass the Kage, to make them like listen to his demands better or something, which is sort of like what the plan
They running
was
everybody's
low-key
shit.
anyway. On
They
top
running
of training
everybody's
Sasuke.
shit on me.
So we'll just say that he kind of just sent them there for that purpose rather than training one of them or something. So that was the only purpose. So we could maybe say that he would plant little Zetsus on everybody or whatever as well. That's a possibility. Maybe he'd show up at the very end, you know, like he did with Sasuke. And I guess we'll kind of just do it in like the story order, where Itachi and Kisame, they would raid the summit, and then the Raikage be like, "What did you do to my brother?" And then like he would like ram out there and then fight them.
You could even have him like
go over how
come in
start.
on the same energy. Like, let's just say Sasuke captured B as well. It's like, where's your brother at? He kidnapped my brother.
You gonna talk?
Like
I mean, if it makes it like less headcanon-y or whatever, we can just say that Itachi just captured.
Yeah, I mean, either or.
You know, like,
for whatever reason, they're at the summit, and then the Raikage comes in. You know, I'm gonna show you true fury or whatever, and then him and Itachi get the scrapping. So it's Itachi.
Such a bad line.
Oh damn, his audio low as hell.
Itachi and Kisame, and they're in the room. Their main opponents, anyway, at this point, is gonna be Raikage, Darui, and C. I sort of think, the way Itachi and Kisame work. Kisame normally lets Itachi handle like the big guys. Like, he was the same way with Jiraiya. He was like, I don't know if I can take him, so I'm gonna let you have it. And when they were getting away, obviously it was Itachi who opened the hole in the giant frog belly to get away. So Kisame is probably gonna start fighting with C and Darui, and Itachi's gonna fight the Raikage. Now, when it comes to the difficulty of both fights, I think Kisame.
I would honestly put Kisame on the Raikage. You feel me? Like, I know Itachi can do it, but I'd rather put Kisame. I just would love to see that matchup.
So Kisame, just before the summit, a little bit before the B fight, Kisame has a fight with Suigetsu.
Bro, I know this nigga got tired of putting the fucking subtitles up.
And then after that, when
that shit's a lot of fucking editing.
Obito, Sasuke tells Suigetsu, just back off, Kisame.
Because the clips alone he had in his bitch
and then we got
takes a long ass time.
Running into the summit, and he's able to block a holding back Raikage at the same time that Jugo blocks Darui. So if that's the case, and you just do some linear like ABC type scaling from there. Like, okay, Suigetsu and Kisame is a little bit stronger. They're around the same level as Jugo.
They're a big bit stronger
than Darui. And then C is sort of like the hang back guy. So it's not implied he's all too combative pickle. Oh my god. It's
Combat pickle? That goes crazy. You
Anyway,
think about food
it's
already.
not implied he's all too combat applicable
I'm
outside of
dead.
his genjutsu, which you don't even know if C could genjutsu someone with as much chakra as Kisame. Like, would it be like, since you inject your chakra into someone else to control their senses or whatever, is it just like C drops his chakra into Kisame's ocean of chakra, so it's sort of like trying to dye the ocean red with a drop of food coloring or something like that? So you can't really prove C can genjutsu Kisame. And then with Kisame versus Darui, like I said earlier, he's just faster. He can absorb tons of chakra in one swipe. I think like up to 6 tails of a V1 cloak from B. So that fight's going pretty simply, at least the way I broke it down. But you can get into Itachi versus Raikage.
Yeah, so some interesting facts about Itachi is that apparently it's stated that the only time, or the first time, Sasuke begins to surpass Itachi in really any capacity, when it comes to like ocular abilities and all of that, is when he actually gets the EMS. So
Yep.
everything you see in the War Arc versus Jubito, what you see versus Sage Kabuto, all of those scraps would be what would be considered above a live Itachi's arsenal with his eyes, basically. Like, maybe not with Edo. Maybe Edo Tensei is a bit different because his body's healthier, or whatever you want to say, however you want to cope with it. But basically, what it's implying is that the Itachi that we see throughout the series that was suppressed versus CM2 Sasuke, Curse Mark 2 Sasuke, and no diff to Orochimaru in like 2 seconds with his Susanoo. Now, when it comes to that, it is highly unlikely that the Raikage would just absolutely just lariat bomb, or whatever, or elbow chop him, or kill him in one hit, as Sasuke is obviously weaker than Itachi, at least implied heavily. And he could still react to all of those version 1 techniques. And mainly when the version 2 Raikage comes out, Itachi is a sensory type, and he probably knows a lot about the Raikage, just like they seem to know a lot about Itachi's abilities. And he would probably know if he isn't fast enough to react to the Raikage, which I'd actually say he is, granted what we see from Edo Itachi. But even if you said he's, for whatever reason, he's just like vaguely faster than MS Sasuke, he would probably know enough to just activate his Susanoo or some type of Susanoo, and then the Raikage just actually cannot do really feasibly anything to him. Even like later on when we see the Raikage fight Madara, that Madara is just kind of like messing around.
Yup.
Even
Madara's
then, he
toying with them
damage,
niggas.
like Madara's ribcage a lot of the time. Even Tsunade, who's stronger than him, punching like Madara as hard as she can, it kind of like blasts chunks in just like the normal ribcage Susanoo, and they kind of have to like do like multiple combos just to like beat up like a really, really like lesser possessed Susanoo for Madara, not even like armored or anything like that. So yes, if Itachi whipped it out, the Raikage probably is not doing anything.
Nothing.
Let's be real.
Nothing
But I
at
think
all.
something that's more interesting, and I was talking to Six about this, is Kisame versus the Raikage. Like if that
Yes, bro. That's what I
because
said, nigga.
we were reading
This would be a fire ass fight.
Kisame versus B, and something that Kisame can do is that he can just rip away a bunch of tails from Killer Bee's Chakra Cloak, which are pretty comparable to the Raikage's version 1 Lightning Cloak, right? Version 1 Lightning Cloak is implied to be comparable to like a few tails of B, or maybe his version 2 state, and then version 2 Raikage is what's comparable to like full 8 tails Killer Bee, as an example. So an interesting like little dissection you can have is if the Raikage like toyed around with Kisame like he did with Suigetsu and Jugo and all of them, which he literally did. He actually toyed around with Sasuke, even when he's basically like bloodlusted and wants to kill him. He's still suppressed when he first comes out. So something interesting you could say is Kisame might be able to absorb a ton of chakra from the Raikage and potentially whip out his water bubble. And then after that happens, it's really weird. It's really weird to say like how that would go down from there. Like there's a potential solo angle for Kisame with these Cloud Ninja, like 100%. And
Yeah.
And I think even if the Sand Ninja come and you think they'd give him a problem or whatever, if he doesn't imply the bubble,
Nigga, he
whatever,
piecing Gar ass up, bro.
Itachi just stomps him out with the Susanoo anyways, fully armored Susanoo. I don't think that's even like a contest. But
so
yeah, you can
like
go ahead.
with Kisame absorbing so much chakra, like I said earlier, and I think Seth mentioned just then as well, he can take up to 6 tails of chakra from B. So the Raikage is comparable to the 8 tails, at least when he goes into the version 2 cloak, not necessarily the version 1 cloak. And even the version 1 cloak, it has varying levels of chakra, like they can get higher or lower. And obviously when he's in his weaker state, like when he's getting blocked by Suigetsu, he's not at his full power of his V1 or whatever. Because realistically speaking, V1 and V2, these are just like fan terms to help us better understand what we're talking about when we're referring to the Raikage in whatever specific fight. V1 is just the Raikage holding back his lightning cloak to some unknown degree. So if he comes in on the same energy he did with Suigetsu, Kisame might just tear that cloak off.
On me, bro, got tired of the subtitles. I feel it, bro.
When he gets enough chakra, he starts tearing enough chakra away from his opponent. He just gets stronger and stronger because Samehada.
This shit alone probably took him like 5 hours.
Back into
this for the clips. This for the scans.
Gives it to Kisame, so he just never gets tired. And then when he merges with Samehada and turns into what everyone calls Fuse Kisame, he can then absorb chakra just through his skin. Like if he just touches you, he can absorb a massive amount of chakra. Whenever him and B are in the bubble, granted the bubble absorbs chakra as well. So him and B are in the bubble, Kisame makes contact with B, B's in V2, and he just takes it all away. Like to the point where B can't move and he's just on the ground. Literally the only reason B even survived after that point was because Samehada switched sides and went to his side. But yeah, so like if Fuse Kisame comes out, like Seth said, there's like this weird solo angle for Kisame. Like he might beat Darui, C, Raikage, Gaara, Tamari, Kankuro, and all the other samurai just by himself.
If he gets enough energy, I think. But it also depends, once again, on the Raikage's character, because I do think that the implication of B not being able to use his full 8 tails form in the Kisame fight was sort of indicative of like, okay, he's being held back on purpose to make it more tense. So I do think maybe like version 2 Raikage may give Kisame too much for him to handle. But you know, if Kisame has enough time to like build up off of the Raikage toying around, it's like way more realistic for Kisame to do something there. But once again, even if it is like version 2 Raikage and for whatever reason he just beats up Kisame, like Itachi Susanoo is just never losing to the Raikage.
Oh
it's
yeah,
not happening whatsoever. And I'd honestly argue that Itachi is actually just too fast for him. I mean, like a lot of people have been saying this, like scaling Itachi to the Edo version, but we don't really know how the Edo version is amped or nerfed compared to the original. For instance, the Edo version could just have like more like longevity in battle or something like, you know, Hiruzen does or something like that. We have no idea really what exactly the amps are, like what the sickness does to Itachi other than just basic cardio and making it really hard to strain himself. So if that's the case, like he was scrapping with Naruto and B, and then alongside EMS Sasuke, who was scrapping with like a pretty late War Arc KCM Naruto, whether you think he's as fast as KCM 2 at that point in 1.5 or whatever have you when they're fighting Jubito, that's way beyond the Raikage's pay grade, as we know. So I do not see that happening at all with the Raikage's favor. But if you go then to Mei, which would happen, they'd go to Mei. Mei just gets obliterated by Kisame solo. I don't even know if you want to talk about her. Like, is that even...
No. Mei is undoubtedly the weakest of the 5 Kages. You get this what I like to call perspective panel or panels in the Madara versus the 5 Kage fight, where it shows you how each of the 5 Kage are doing against the Susanoo clones. I think Anoki's like vaporizing some, Tsunade's body slamming some with punches, and then Raikage's actually body slamming some like with his wrestling moves. Gaara traps some in sand, and Mei like melts the arm of one and still gets punched. So I think it's being made pretty clear that May is the weakest of the 5 Kage there.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the more interesting things to go from there is then we see Mifune try to slash Sasuke. If base Sharingan Sasuke is blocking that, okay, Itachi is 100%. You know what I mean? If Danzo knows that Itachi's rolling up into the summit, you'll probably run away, just like he did when Sasuke was. So that'd have to be like a post-summit fight as well. I think the most interesting confrontation would be with Inoki. Now, in actual like canon or whatever, by this point, the Zetsu activated, started stealing all the Kage's chakra, and they would give it to Kisame and Itachi, and apparently if Inoki tries to particle style any of them, he would just save them if they couldn't react to it, apparently. So by that point in the summit, it's pretty much just kind of GG. Now, Itachi versus Inoki is like its own whole topic, same with Kisame and all that as well. But what do you think about it? Like, I don't even think it's necessary to answer, because by that time, once again, Obito gets there. And honestly, they might capture the Raikage as a hostage. They'd probably get Mei as a hostage, at least, like 100%. But what do you think would happen if they actually had to scrap Inoki? In the hypothetical, they probably wouldn't.
If they have to fight Inoki, like let's say Obito is less willing to help Itachi than he is to help Sasuke, because he kind of doesn't care if Itachi dies, because he's trying to manipulate Sasuke at this point.
Maybe he's like a liability, you know.
If Obito is not gonna enter, and we have Inoki versus Kisame and Itachi at this point, I think it goes sort of the same way it did in the other room with the Raikage. The reason being, Inoki is definitely part of the 5 Kage that were weaker than Hiruzen. Like it's just stated, it's stated implied just multiple times. Hiruzen was the strongest of that 5 Kage era. And I don't think Inoki's getting any stronger. If anything, Inoki's getting weaker because, you know, he's an old man. He probably peaked, maybe he like keeps up his physical peak or something like that, similar to Guy, but Inoki should be weaker than Hiruzen. And then if you scale Itachi over Hiruzen the way everyone does, like through Orochimaru or through the signing, him just being generally stronger than the signing or seen at that level, I mean, you get pretty clear Itachi over Inoki scaling. And then with Kisame and his chakra draining abilities, it's a bit weird. How do we say like Kisame?
Wait, has it been loud for y'all the whole time, bro?
With particle style, is it like, oh, particle style hits it, but somehow is just absorbing it at the same time?
Like it's like a Renegon absorption thing, or is the particle style like so weird that it would just melt the sword or something? Or how much chakra is in the particle style blast? We don't actually, there's like no way to quantify like,
oh, this is some headphone shit,
exactly
bro.
like 19 tails.
Yeah, I guess they set it up like I can hear Seth through one, and I can hear, I think it's 6 through the other. I believe that's that nigga. But yeah, like that shit crazy. Cause I can hear either one of them through different headphones.
There's just no way just to say that, so it's kind of weird.
That shit crazy.
It's implied Inoki doesn't necessarily have like massive amounts of chakra whenever he's mentioned, and it's more so as like his willpower keeps bringing him back into fights and stuff. One thing I'll say specifically about Inoki is I think he has insane attack potency for a Naruto character, in the sense that I think his particle style hits harder than any of the Kage. You know what I mean? But one thing I think that Inoki has that's like weak for him is he's not very fast, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is he's clearly slower than the Raikage when they fight Madara. Like the Raikage is clearly like the fast one there. You know what I mean? And so we also see when he's like flying around, he's like flying around with Edo nerfed Datara as well. Not saying he's nerfed Datara level, but like that's really like one of the only other examples. And then other than that, you have like KCM Shadow Clone help him fight Mu, and then the Shadow Clone just kind of blows Mu away. So
I mean, there's also like, you know, if you want to contend Inoki being faster than the Raikage, which, come on now, but Inoki literally gets on the Raikage's back to lighten him, because he's like the fastest one there, so that they can move around the battlefield faster. So
Yeah, so I don't know. Even if he is fast in the Raikage, it's not by a significant degree
Yeah.
from what we know of. And I don't really believe like the Shadow clones are going to be like 800 times Raikage's speed and Inoki scales to that or something. It just doesn't seem implied with the 5 Kage battle like at all, in my opinion. But yeah, so I mean, if Itachi scales like to Sasuke, he's above Sasuke just pretty objectively. He might even be on the bridge of EMS Sasuke while alive, depending on how you interpret Edo or whatever. He should be like way fast enough to handle Inoki. Even if you think Inoki, for whatever reason, is just so durable, he can handle like a continent nuking meteor, like just no nerf. He just handled all the energy all himself, like it wasn't dispersed anywhere else. Otsuka Blade.
GG.
On me.
Yeah.
Nigga getting packed
Yeah,
up.
GG. Tsukuyomi, like he has so many win cons. Amaterasu, like there's just so many ways Itachi could win, as well as the fact that if Kisame is fast enough or has the ability to absorb particle style, which once again, absorbing particle style, that is its own little discussion. It's kind of quantifiable. I'll leave that up to you guys. Do you think Kisame can absorb particle style? Because he could absorb just like Bijou cloaks on contact, which is pretty impressive.
I do. I think he can. I think he can, because it still got to do with chakra, bro. Type shit. You feel me? Still got to do it. It's damn near just saying like Asta. It's like saying, okay, Asta really can't absorb time magic from Julius. Even though we know time magic is OP as shit. But he has anti-magic, so he can cancel out any magic. You feel me? So when it comes to the chakra, I'm like, bro, Inoki with particle style, that's still chakra at the end of the day. So yeah, I got him absorbing that shit.
And Bijou
Let me know what y'all think, though.
Godly amounts of chakra. Like Jinchuriki chakra is considered so massive, it's like incomparable, So, I do think it's probable, and Kisame is probably fast enough to scrap with Inoki if Deidara and Sasuke and the Raikage are. So, that's just my take on it. I think that at the end of the day, though, they probably wouldn't fight Inoki. Obito would step in and be like, all right, we got a hostage. Like, you wanted to listen yet? Like, you're going to war, and then he and the boys would just like vanish into the ether, and that'd be it. But yeah, anyways, that's all I have to say about the video. I don't know if you have any more to add to that.
The only thing I would say is just for the comments, keep in mind this is a 5 Kage that aren't as well coordinated as they were with Madara.
Right. We're more so putting Itachi and Kisame in the same position that Sasuke went through in the manga. Like those set, it's almost like a gauntlet. It's like almost like the Kage like gauntlet. Like you're playing. If you're playing like Storm, it's like, all right, mission 1, Raikage, Darui, and C battle, and then mission 2, Mei and Chojuro battle, or something like that. That kind of energy. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and till next time.
I don't know. Y'all let me know how y'all feel like. You know what I'm saying? How would Itachi do? You know what I'm saying? In the 5 Kage, somebody fighting the Raikage, all the Kage, etc., and some shit like that. And Kisame too, you feel me? I feel like, with Obito still being there too, Sasuke, and then, you know what I'm saying? Basically them, you feel me? And Jugo and them type shit. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'll be a brawl in that shit. I ain't even gonna lie to you. It'll be a fucking brawl in that shit. I ain't gonna lie. But I feel like Akatsuki, you know what I'm saying? They would, in Ataka, I think what was it called? That was called the Taka, I think. But they will come out victorious, you feel me? Like, they will win this shit. But appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure y'all leave a like, comment, subscribe. Y'all let me know any other videos y'all like to see me do next, and I will see y'all in the next video.